I'm so happy to be here. Hello, everybody. We are very excited for today. We have a dynamite panel, a couple of housekeeping things we'll take care of right away. You saw we are going to complete this broadcast. If you have an internet interruption or something, just come on back in. We're here working. We'll be happy to see you again. We will give you an opportunity to interact after we discuss some things on the panel here for a few minutes. So in about 25 minutes, we'll be promoting everybody to panel level so that we can have an open discussion about the things the panel was discussing. And I'll remind you who's on the panel and get that going in just a moment. Let's go ahead and thank a couple of people. Marian, if you would show our client list page, we want to thank our clients. It's our association and brokerage clients who do business with us, who give us the support that we need to be able to come to you, education directors and instructors, and give value like this. And so we want to show our gratitude to everybody that you see right here. These are leaders that have been on the front edge of developing education solutions for realtors. And so we're very grateful to them. Let's go ahead and drop that if you would, Marian. Thank you. Now, the reason that we chose this topic we got together is, first of all, we have identified and announced our most requested instructors for this year, and it was not a close race. These folks came out way on top, and you're going to love hearing from them. I imagine most of you know of them. Those of you that have not, well, you're welcome, because you're going to be really happy that you know them. Having said that, let's get our mindset in order. So we have this unique year, and Rialto knows that one of the ways that we achieve our mission here in America and for realtors all around the world, yet here in America, is supporting the quality of the education and the education strategies that you have available to you. And what an interesting year. So in this year, we're going to retain a lot of realtors. We're going to help them solve challenges in their business. We're going to solve membership challenges at our own associations and brokerages. And there's a couple of ways that are emerging that are really exciting that's happening this year, and we'll hear about them today. One of them is associations bringing their own on-demand into play for their area. And so they increase the value they're giving their members by letting it have local information. Maybe you were sending all your members out to CE Shop. We were sure lucky to have them for years. Yet now you could really improve the value you give your agents by having your own programs that discuss assets and services at your association or brokerage and give them local information. And it's just a superior thing for them. And then you keep all the revenue. Also, we're seeing a lot of development in serving underserved communities, which is something we always support and is always a good idea to understand, especially in your local market, as well as the big picture and being a good, best human you can be, best version of yourself you can be. Having said that, what we're seeing a lot of this year is increasing the support for Spanish-speaking agents. So we were in a discussion about this recently, and somebody asked me what it was like serving that underserved community that was a minority in Texas. And I had to point out to them that here in the Southwest, it is not a minority, it is a majority. We are less than 50% non-Hispanic in Texas, and it's even lower. It's even more of a ratio in, say, New Mexico, Arizona, even Florida. And so there's over 40 million Hispanic people in America, fellow Americans. And of those, half of them are still speaking Spanish first. And here we are underserving them. You also will recall that the Hispanic community is the leading minority in America when it comes to first-time home buyers, and that is continuing to accelerate. And we also have a champion of AI usage on our panel today. And AI is going to open up some ability to serve these communities better. Yet also, Rialto is producing these courses in Spanish. We're also going to hear from Danielle Archambault from Austin Board of Realtors today, who's always on the front edge of instructor development and other things, and some of these things will come up. So that's how we're going to start. The topics are going to begin today. The first topic we're going to discuss is best practices for instructors. We have these amazing instructors. So we kind of want to start high level like that. And then we have some design tools. Everybody brought gifts. We all love having y'all here so much. Everybody brought gifts for you. And then we have, we're going to make sure we touch on topics that are going to be very important for this year. Of course, everyone's talking about commissions and how we're going to address commissions. The first round of information on commissions was largely about what not to say anymore, what not to do. Yet, of course, we need to empower people as soon as possible with what they can do. They can absolutely sink their teeth into and make progress. And then this is a sort of board where they might surprise us. This is a sort of panel where they might surprise us with a topic. That's how we start. Okay, so let's go ahead and meet our, would you go ahead and show our panel slide? We'll remind everybody who's on the panel, Marian. So, ladies and gentlemen, our most requested instructors of the year were Marky Lemons Ryhall, and I imagine most of you know her, yet you're sure going to be glad you know her. And then also Josh Cadillac, an amazing author and instructor who audiences just love. The realtors are just in love with him. And then Julia Lachey, some of you know her as Julia Lachey Israel. She can't be with us today because she's on her feet in front of a group that needs her attention, yet also an amazing instructor. And then, like I said, we have Danielle Archambault. Danielle Archambault is the education leader at Austin Board of Realtors, and they have been at the front edge of a great many education improvements over the last 4 years at least. And so we'll talk about that a little bit. So let me open this up to the panel. Hi, everybody. Marky, I see you there smiling. Welcome to the panel.
Well, thank you for having me. You know, when you look at all these different subjects, I definitely focus on AI and early adapter of AI. But when I go back and look at the core, as a realtor volunteer, I sit on the board of directors of the National Association of Realtors, and I am the podcast host of Drive with NAR. There's one document that I'm always going back to, and that's the strategic framework, right? That all association leaders need to have in their arsenal for 2023, 2025. And I believe that artificial intelligence allows them to meet the strategic plan in an efficient and cost-effective manner. So that's where AI comes in. But in light of the changes due to the settlement, I've made a post the other day and I told people, do not rely on your own understanding, right? That we have to go back to the core curriculum, the pre-license book, because defamation is real out here, right? And I'm like, if it's not in this book, it was never going to be on the test. And a lot of people don't understand that there are 50 different set of licensing rules and regulations, that there's one realtor code of ethics, that there are over 1,100 associations, over 500 MLSs. So the rules are not one size fits all. And that instructors need to go back to the basics, because there's so many lies out here. You keep hearing and seeing it, you start believing it. So I have had to go and pull out the arsenal, right? The source of the information before I say and or do anything consistently, because we want to convey the correct information to licensed real estate professionals.
Absolutely. We're in a legal license environment with the largest transaction in our neighbors' lives, and we have real responsibility. And while NAR made a, strenuous case and continues to make a strenuous case that things were already negotiable, well, we are in a new level of scrutiny and reality. And, I learned the most about this in a session that Danielle Archambault invited me to, where we were talking with legal counsel and getting advice on this. And it's so interesting to me, Danielle, one of the things that was on my mind when we were having that discussion was, name another industry where everyone openly talks about each other's money, each other's income, and thinks it's all set. We've been in a kind of weird mindset for quite a long time, hadn't we? As opposed to the simple reality of, it's not entirely polite to talk about everyone else's money and pretend it's all preset as if we're all, equal business people. That's the way it struck me, at least. Yeah, Danielle, I learned the most about that. And one of the things your very good legal counsel said that affected me quite a bit was we're doing pretty good on what not to do, yet we hadn't been able to figure out too much yet about what we are going to do. What's that looking like for you from where you're sitting right now, Danielle?
Yeah, absolutely. Nothing has changed. We're obviously, we tell our members, as we tell our instructors, business as usual. You got to keep your head down. You got to keep your focus. Instructors need to, keep their mindset on making sure that we're teaching those realtor members out there the do's and don'ts in the way that we know best. Get back to the basics. We're starting to see a lot of people who not have to rely on the basics of when they first became a realtor and dig out all those tools that they'd not used in the past, and just put your head down and focus. What we can't say, we can't say, and when we can, we will. And until then, it's business as usual.
Well, it's interesting, right? Because some people respond to obstacles and challenges so differently than others. Professionals that we admire very often are inspired by an obstacle or a challenge. And y'all are great examples of this. Yet, we have heard some realtors say some initial reactive things like, wow, I don't know what I'm going to have to, I don't yet know what I'm going to have to add to my buyer business to make it valuable enough to navigate asking for those fees and things like that. And it's like, wow, you're just now thinking of that? How to add value for your clients.
You know,
Jonathan has been working on that like crazy. Jonathan's got multiple value added courses. Jonathan, this year, the value add developments, you think this is going to help buyer agreements come together?
Well, absolutely. And I think it's helpful now that we have the help of the NAR local associations to frame out here are the rules of the game. Obviously, a lot of these things were already supposed to be happening, but now that things are laid out, I think it's a great opportunity to lean into that. And I think we're going to see that, one thing we're seeing is that the importance of speed to lead to buyers is even more important, because they're going to be incentivized to sign with an agent so that they can go ahead and do what they want to do, to see houses, to get access to things. And so we're going to see some of the things that there's going to be more urgency for the value proposition side, like you're talking about, but also just the speed to lead aspect. I think we're going to see top agents really being able to lean into that.
Yeah, I agree. And professionals offering value to clients, well, it just doesn't get any more basic than that. And then putting that client under agreement, so while there's still a lot of learning to do, we have kind of, I guess we all kind of expected we might end up in a commission discussion ahead of our agenda a little bit today, because it's the beast in the room right now, and we want everyone to be doing the right thing. Now, let's focus on our instructors a little bit here. So our instructors, we're already talking to them. This last year, our favorite topic of conversation with instructors has been to raise their game. Austin Board has a really robust instructor development program. It's where I actually met some of the top instructors that I work with, onboarding and helping instructors for Austin Board. And in the development of those things, we have a few things that are very important to us right now. For instance, instructors' relevance. We'd like to see relevance go way up. And one way you can solve your commission discussion and raise your relevance at the same time for the clients that help you is if a board brings you in to speak to their group, and the board has any language on their own website or in their own materials about how they deal with such things, use their darn words. If your course has some relationship to an initiative that board is doing, mention the initiative. If you're doing a case study, and that board has good housing market information, which most do after about the 7th of the month, all the rock star boards have great housing and market information after about the 7th of the month. If you're doing a case study, be relevant. Do a case study. It's pet peeve of ours at Rialto when we see an instructor show up to one of our very valuable clients, and maybe they're in a $300,000 home market. There are still some out there. Maybe they're in a $300,000 home market, and they say something about, let's say you're doing 2 million in business, so that's about 7 homes. Meanwhile, our agents who might be in Austin, Texas, or New York City or something are having to do some kind of translation math on paper because this person didn't even use an example about their situation or market. So So the commission discussion is about it. So in talking about best practices for instructors, and Danielle, you talk about getting back to basics, and we're talking about how some of these things are not new at all. These are things to be done well by a professional in every environment. What are some other things that we can challenge our instructors to kind of step up on? Marky, you and Josh and Julia get such amazing responses from your audiences. And part of that we know is from your passion, and we love passionate teachers. Part of that we know is from your energy and the way you develop your content. Yet, what else? What else can we challenge these instructors to do to be more valuable to the agents and more relevant when they are teaching?
Well, you know what? One thing that I do, I always color coordinate with the organization. And so no matter what organization I go to work for, I color coordinate. And I just got back from Argentina. And my husband said, "Did you buy that outfit there? Because it looked very Argentina, right?" And I said, "No, I knew I was going to Argentina. I understood the people. So I took an outfit that matched their vibe." People comment on those small things. But because I'm a realtor and I understand the realtor language, and I would say I think all of your top instructors are realtors, we are in the streets every single day with, feet on the ground, and we're hearing the complaints from our agents, the obstacles that they have to overcome. So I believe in concentrate on solutions, not on the problem. I'm always thinking about the solution. So when we heard about the settlement, the first thing that came to mind for me was we need to start talking about the EAH program, the Employee Assisted Housing Program, especially like in an area like Austin, where you have a lot of new companies coming there with a realtor or a real estate professional can partner with a nonprofit housing organization and a lender going into the different corporations, working with the director of human resource to really create their own form of a relocation department, right? And then the next thing was, well, commercial real estate professionals are never complaining about compensation, but oftentimes they're not doing their deals through an MLS where they would see cooperating compensation. So now, if we're not implementing exclusive buyer representation agreements with an offer of compensation, how do we come up with our own letter of intent? And so I believe that commercial real estate professionals need to create new curriculum for residential agents on how they have consistently gotten paid without any cooperating compensation being visible on most of their transactions. And that's been my whole thought process. How are we going to get this done? What are other people doing? And even if I think about Austin, Texas, they have a very robust CIPS, right? How do people get paid in other countries? And so maybe we look outside of the US, right, where maybe they don't have an MLS, or we look outside of the US where they don't have cooperating compensation, and we implement those strategies here.
Well, I think that sounds really smart, and that has tones of chunking up a few levels and finding the solutions by going a couple levels up and looking around us. And I think those are some very interesting case points. Danielle, what do you make of that approach? Do you agree with that? Would you add to that?
Yeah, I mean, for us here at ABOR, as I mentioned with going back to the basics, really because we're in a position where we really don't know everything. We don't know all the details. We don't really know truly what these next steps are going to be. So in the interim of being able to communicate to our members and our the realtors out there to continue to push forward and do their business as they would normally, we also are leaning on having them really reach out to their brokers. That is our big statement right now, is talk to your broker. It gives them the sense of their broker should be leading them on how they're discussing, talking about their value proposition when they're meeting with their clients, and understanding better from a brokerage how they should be represented as their broker is guiding them in those processes. So the closer we get to really landing on how we want to be communicating with our members, in the meantime, we're just really leaning on, communicating with our members to seek their brokers for that information.
Well, that makes sense all day long, right? We have these broker clients in the associations, and we're going to measure ourselves by their success and by the lack of trouble they have in the market. And a lot of our instructors are going to teach for the associations and also teach for some of the brokerages. So that's a heck of an opportunity to help a brokerage refine their language and communicate it to their people and get everybody on the same page. And that's what we're doing in a larger sense in our association work. Danielle, I've been bragging on Austin Board because you're leaders in instructor development, and also you're my hometown team, and I love y'all, and it's easy to brag on y'all. Yet, having said that, we're really proud of the new instructor course that we're about to announce and take out to all instructors. And after it pilots for a while at Austin Board, we will do our best to share it and make it available to instructors, because we're all in charge of raising this instructor community and getting this instructor community as powerful as we can. Just like I think Marky made a really good case for the fact that we're all also in charge of opening up our own markets. When people say the market is up or down, sometimes they talk about it like they're not a participant. Right. Yeah. We have seen agents do amazing things to open up markets, and I'm hearing that in what Marky's describing as well. Hey, Jonathan, while we're talking about these education assets and we're talking about the importance of instructors having all the basics right so they can raise their vision forward for these interesting solutions that are on the horizon, I know we have some things we're going to give away. Why don't we go ahead and give away some tools real quick? And so all of you that are listening, you education directors and you instructors and you brokers that are with us today, we're so glad that you're all here. Jonathan, we have a couple tools we're going to give away. I know Marky has a thing we're going to give away. Let's give everyone some gifts real quick. Will you describe our tools, Jonathan?
Yeah, we'll add them into the chat here. So what we've seen is it's helpful to have some best practices, some standards that we have when we're looking at new course creation. Thinking through how we decide a topic. And one of the big things we've done, so we've done quite a few classes working with associations that, some of the classes are, may feel a little bit like compliance, may feel a bit like, okay, we've got to check a box, but our goal is to make every class engaging and useful, and really look at what are the metrics that we could track and how can we help our learners, our agents, have more successful businesses because they've taken this class. So we want every class to be a chance for our instructors to shine and for real metrics to be accomplished. And so we're going to share a couple of the tools that we use when we're generating content, we're generating classes, to think through the different steps. So there are two frameworks that you'll see, one for the slide generation portion and then another just for planning the class. And we found that a lot of the best classes, a lot of the work is done before you even get into that content. Like, you figure out what is the story, what are we going to share here, what are the metrics, what would success look like. And so we're going to share those in the chat, and just some good tools you can use to help to guide your course creation process.
Yeah. There's a 1-pager or a 2-pager that asks questions about your course that will help you to organize it and identify what matters the most and gain clarity like that. And then also one of the tools that Jonathan is sharing is a slide guide. It's amazing the variety of quality of slide presentations that we see in the association world. Rialto has 350,000 realtors on those campuses now, and we see it all. And some folks want to pile too much into their slides. They think they need a lot of trickiness. So we have a guide that'll help you to feel like you have a good, stable slide deck. And Jonathan's sharing that. And
yeah, we got those both loaded into the chat. And I've also included Les's email address. If you need anything, you can email Les directly. So you got direct access to Les there if you have any problem with the download or anything. So
that's
his name's
exactly
easier
right.
spelled than mine. So there you go.
Les with 1 S. You know what autocorrect is trying to do to me, y'all. Keep it down to 1 S if you would, please. I got an ego to preserve here, and I got plenty of it too. So that email address will get you anything that we discussed today. If you have any questions, drop me an email. We're happy to give it to you. These are just gifts to support the community and support the education cause for realtors. Now, Marky also has a gift. Before you give it away, though, Marky,
Yes.
y'all, we are not gatekeepers for these instructors. We are fans and deployers of these instructors. You are absolutely invited to reach out to Rialto over just anything we can help you with, and I can connect you to great instructors of all types, and including these 3. Yet we're not their gatekeepers. This is not a speakers bureau. Rialto does have speakers that are internal to the team that are our coaches and trainers, and they're extremely good. yet you're invited to reach out to us to get a hold of these people, and you're invited to reach out to them directly. Marky is way not a secret agent. And Marky, you brought some nice gifts that we're going to make available to everybody as well, I believe.
Yes, well, one, we're going to give them a prompt that I created from Rapid, and it is my curriculum development prompt. One of the keys to this prompt is that when we're writing courses and we want those courses to be approved for continuing education, we have to write our learning objectives according to Bloom's taxonomy. One of the reasons that I've created over 30 courses in just the past year is because of this prompt. And so I am going to drop that prompt, but I'm realizing my link is not coming up. So I'm going to go and put it over in a Google Drive and then come back and share it with you before we end. And you can essentially, you're going to tell it how many years of experience you have, what your role is, and what you want that curriculum to be. It is going to give you a title. It is going to give you learning objectives. It will give you a timed outline based on how long you want that curriculum to be, and it will provide you a description. And so I have mastered the ability to write the basis of the course, plus leveraging artificial intelligence, it can also create the PowerPoint. So what used to take a couple of days to develop a course and its PowerPoint, we're able to do that now in roughly under an hour if you are a true course developer. So every association can use it, but you can also use it to partner with subject matter experts in your association who do not have any curriculum development skills in order to allow them to shine and create new curriculum. But in creating that new curriculum, I'm always going back to the strategic framework.
That's right.
I don't pull classes out of the air. There needs to be a need for those classes. And so we're going to
Well, and
always go back there.
Marky, pardon me for interrupting you. Yet I want folks to understand. There's so many people, like you know better than anyone else I know. There's so many people with confusing opinions about AI and how to use it. There's still people who are stuck in, am I supposed to use it or not? As if there's going to be much choice going forward, right? And and yet I know from your execution, I know what your final products look like, and there's a difference between early folks experimenting with AI and folks that know, like you say, you're verifying it against the needs of the source of truth, which is that strategic plan. And can you say something about that for me and help everybody to understand? Because they're not going to be as good as you tomorrow. And
No.
you have trained your AI. I know this. I know how well you've trained it.
I've trained my AI on my voice paragraph, which is something else that we're going to give you. So that is going to be on my style, my tone, and my voice. So when I show up, the curriculum actually sounds like me. But if we were to go back, one of the things that put me on the map as an instructor is I was the queen of foreclosures. So I've been developing curriculum for adult learners ever since 2006. But then I decided that I wanted to focus on social media and technology. So I had all of these years of curriculum development, like when I mentioned the Bloom's taxonomy. A lot of times people aren't going to get their courses approved if they do not write those learning objectives correct. But let me give you an example. Last week I was in Alabama teaching. Alabama is all about consumer protection. A course that they created is really about teaching realtors how to make more money. I was able to go back in and rewrite that course where I'm presenting the same content, but it all came out as a benefit to the consumer. So I leverage artificial intelligence in my business every single day. And as a result, in 2023, I increased my productivity by 261% and my income by 283% as a speaker. We did 106 face-to-face events last year and had to decline 25 events because we were already booked. Artificial intelligence is going to be your productive, electrifying, trained assistant. And here's what's sad about this. When we look at ChatGPT, only 15% of its users are in the US. And the number one age bracket, 65% of users are under the age of 34. That lets me know that the people outside the US are going to be more productive and the next generation. Well, I'm not ready to retire. So I need to start implementing these tools to be more productive, to just keep up, because things moving forward are going to be faster than they've ever been in the past.
Yeah, well, way to go. And when you use that kind of language, I got to admit it fires me up patriotically as well. When we talk about everything from raising American productivity, which is in the lead and still has lots of capacity for growth, right? We're doing well, yet we're certainly not at the top of our capacity. And then also talking about incorporating more of our underserved communities, doing a better job with that. There is so much room for growth. And here we are with some numbers coming up here to encourage everybody. Some numbers coming up in market activity over the last 60 days or so. Well, as I move us to Q&A, so we're going to open up for discussion here pretty quick. And any of these, let's wrap a couple of things up. So any of these assets that we just gave you, if for any reason you can't access them, just drop me a note, les@rialtoacademy.com. We're totally happy to give you a hand with those things. And you can reach out to Marky. Like I said, you can find Marky. She makes herself findable. And then in the projects that we're developing with the instructor development through Austin Board, we will share some of the results of that with everybody and make some of those things available. One thing that's coming out of that I would like all the instructors and education professionals to hear loud and clear is, even though we may not know every answer about this upcoming year, we know a couple of things in an unshakable manner, which is show some respect to the association or group that hired you, show some respect, and do some due diligence. It's embarrassing to instructor development people like myself. It's embarrassing when an instructor shows up and they say something that is ignorant about something major going on with the client, and maybe it lives on the front of the client's website or something, and you want to pull that instructor aside and say, did you not even look at the client's website before they gave you their audience and paid you? Did you not even look at what they offer and what they do? Did you address something that they have an amazing asset over and you referred students elsewhere instead of to that amazing asset? Who are you working for and what community are you trying to help? So I'd like to put a big underline underneath respect and due diligence during this time period. We may not know all the answers yet. We certainly will figure out all the answers. We're a bunch of focused professionals. We will figure out all the answers. In the meantime, how about a little extra dose of respect for the people that book you and due diligence, taking a look at their information and making real relevant connections for those agents to their association in their market, so that they can grow and have things right there instead of just a generic message at a national level or something like that. So that's my challenge to instructors. Double down on your respect and due diligence. We'll help you with other types of solutions. And the tools we're giving you today are amazing things to strengthen your foundation. Stand up on top of those things. These prompts Marky's talking about, there's skill development to be had with AI. You can see how well Marky does it and the effect that she gets. And I've seen it with my own eyes. I believe in it. I'll witness right now. Yeah, you won't be there tomorrow. You sure can start right away, though. You sure can start learning. I remember when I'm older than a lot of y'all, and I remember when the internet came out and people said, do you really think we need a website? We already got a sign and a brochure. Do you really think we need a website? And you see, what happened. AI is like that. AI is that large of a change in our world. You will have some AI in your life. You will. Fair to say, Marky?
Everybody already has AI in their life. The question is, most of them won't admit it. If they're using Microsoft, Google, Zoom, it's all AI driven, right? You buy a new Ford or GM, you have Apple, you're using AI.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, Marian, if you would please, let's open up our discussion. So our guests here that are brokerage level education, association educators, especially, some of you are in our ACE community. If you're not in our ACE community, Marian, could you go ahead and drop that link there? This community is only for association educators. We will eventually open up a community for brokerage educators as well. We do not invite all the instructors to the ACE community. ACE stands for Association Community of Educators. And the professional educators at the association level, they need their own think tanks and to be able to share things with each other. Now, we did invite our most requested instructors to that community. The rest of the instructors, we will also create more community for you this year. Yet, for right now, let's go ahead and pull everybody into the discussion and open the floor. If you have a question, you are welcome to put it in chat or raise your hand and go ahead and ask a question yourself. See, while we're doing that, I'll remind you, les@rialtoacademy.com. Anything we're talking about today, you can ask a question. I'll route you to a resource or anything that we have that is a tool that will help you to support your instructors and education mission. We're happy to do that. Let's see, we also had a mention of Rapid and some other, here come our spring events. In our next forums where we get together to discuss things with our education directors, we will have been at a few events and we'll bring you some of the information from those events and share those. So Marky, we have a comment here. Love what you said about commercial brokers. I'm an instructor, but I also own a commercial company and I'm a practicing commercial broker. I would love to help residential brokers and association hear the ins and outs of how things are handled on the commercial side, I think is what they're saying there. What do you think about that? So could you give us another layer down on what you think might be some potential benefit we could get from understanding the different way those folks are doing business?
So when we think about commercial real estate professionals, keep in mind that a lot are not realtor members, right? So they're operating off of a LoopNet, a CoStar, where oftentimes no cooperating compensation is visibly available, which is what we're getting ready to go through, right? So instantly I start thinking about, well, but they're still being compensated. And it is because, and couple of things come to mind. First of all, being a realtor is among the top 10 jobs for homicide in this country because residential practitioners are the only people that meet a stranger at a property and lock themselves on the same side of the door. So what I'm thinking is, right, we'll be a safer industry if we implement what commercial practitioners do with having that letter of intent, understanding the financials, getting a copy of the ID. I believe that all of those things that we can implement on the residential side. But what I am thinking, and let me be very clear about this idea is coming from 3 commercial brokers in the city of Chicago who are realtor members. And they're realtor members because a large percentage of their business is referrals from residential agents who know that they don't have the skill set to practice commercial. So I'm looking at all those commercial practitioners who are realtor members. They need to do breakfast roundtables with their preferred residential agents to teach them how to be compensated in a deal when they provide value, right? So I'm thinking that in every city, there should be a roundtable breakfast, or the local association could come and bring those 3 contributing, right? Those commercial agents who contribute, or even Rialto, you do a panel and it is about, look, this is a checklist, which can be the asset. And here is, and put sample on it because they need to take this back to their broker. They need to take it back to whatever their state they're licensed in. But this is just another tool in our arsenal in order to be compensated.
I just couldn't agree more. I think that is just beautiful. Let's put our heads together. None of us is as smart as all of us, and we have some differences in perspective that can be added together. Now, you're getting ganged up on here a little bit, Marky.
It's okay. Come bring it. Bring
Candace
it.
and Cheryl, you're asking wonderful questions, Candace and Cheryl. And let's see. I'm going to take one more AI question, and then I'm going to defer some of these AI questions. Sounds like you need to hire Marky and bring her out and clear a lot of your AI questions. For my part, what I'm going to say is I'm not as skilled as AI I'm not as skilled at AI as Marky is. And Rialto, we're very human in our course creation, so 100% human in our course creation still. Yet having said that, like Marky pointed out, we have AI in our world. We're not pretending that we don't, and we know that we will be using some AI tools. So what I would encourage you about is, while you have these great questions and the power of the answers is immense, Marky has developed these skills. And so the sooner you develop them, the sooner you'll get there. Yet the question that came in, hello, Latoya. We got a question from Latoya Sims. Runs an excellent program herself. So the question came in, Marky, are you primarily using OpenAI for course creation? Have you found any other AI that you prefer that works differently or has other solutions? Or did you design your own GPT? And I believe you mentioned your own GPT recently. I don't know if you've done that yet.
I have my own GPT, which is Realpreneur .ai. So we did develop our own GPT to help agents secure six-figure incomes. But I am using ChatGPT, the plus version, because now we have 3 million plus custom GPTs. So mine is one of the 3 million plus custom GPTs that are inside of ChatGPT. But in addition to using ChatGPT, I use Midjourney for my text to image. And I use a platform called Studio DID to create my digital human avatars. And the reason for having those digital human avatars is because most cities, most metropolitan areas in the next decade, Spanish will be the preferred language. If we're thinking with the end in mind, everything that we're developing to attract buyers and sellers in our marketplace needs to be bilingual now so that we will be able to stand out. And let me be clear, I speak no Spanish. I just went to Argentina. I had 2 interpreters, a translator, and a handler. But what I do know, because I'm going to be competent in what I do, is the ability to refer to my Spanish speaking realtor friends. And so I'm creating that with the referral in mind. Not that that is going to be the business I service, but I want you to know that I am going to be Spanish friendly, whether I speak Spanish or not.
Right. Yeah, I love it when you make that point. That's one of my favorite. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm speaking to y'all today from Central Texas. Okay. And folks that don't live in largely Hispanic communities may or may not have some misconceptions over what those communities are like. These are valuable neighbors. They're Americans. They fought in our wars. They give service. These are our neighbors. And yet there is still a lot of fraud and abuse going on in some of those communities. Uh, and so I really appreciate everything everyone's doing to help these underserved communities and make your businesses stronger. Let's make our association stronger. Let's increase our footprint. Let's see. Tracy Hawkins made a comment here. Tracy is an instructor who has some great programs, and we're about to do a review of her for inviting her into the instructor community. So Tracy, thank you very much for being here and for asking the question. Tracy says, thank you for bringing up the safety issue. Yeah, one of the very first courses Rialto created was about agent safety for all the reasons that Marky brought up. And, folks have to be safe we're going to help people develop markets and grow businesses. They have to feel safe enough to do that, right? And there's some basic practices. A theme that has come up repeatedly in this conversation today is fundamentals and basics. I'm reminded of one of my favorite quotes. Y'all forgive me because I am a coach as well and a consultant. Yet a quote from the book, The One Thing, comes to mind about the path of mastery. The path of mastery is that of an apprentice learning and relearning the basics on a never-ending journey of greater experience and expertise. So no surprise that these most requested instructors and that these leading education people like Danielle, see there, so no surprise that they are referring to things that keep foundations strong. You're going to build something beautiful, yet the thing you're going to build is going to be sitting on a foundation. So let's have a decent slide deck. Let's show some respect. Let's be highly relevant. Let's get out to these underserved communities. Start learning your tools like the AI that Marky has mastered at an extremely high level for realtors. This is the world that we're in. So sure, there are some new, more complicated pieces of language we will be integrating as we look forward on the horizon about these commissions and whatnot. Yet don't be distracted from the basics. Your basics being very strong will carry you and put you in a position to absorb this new knowledge, and we'll get ourselves going forward. Now, Danielle, you develop more instructors than just about any other association that I've had the pleasure of working with. Am I getting that description right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we always go back to, the basics, not only with our members, but within our instructors. And, I've said it before, when we've been at NAR and we're meeting with the room of ed directors, as well as, set your standard for your instructors. We here at ABOR like to say there's an ABOR way, and any instructor that teaches for ABOR, we do want them to follow that as they go out and they teach our members. So there is a cohesiveness, and that we do know what they're saying, and they're, as Marquis said, they're matching the colors that we have, and that's important to us. And we would definitely recommend that for all associations and all instructors to work with their associations and set your standard high. I'd love to constantly bring in, we're always looking for new instructors, but we're also, I like to say we're a little picky with our instructors, because we do, we don't want it to be where come one, come all. We want to come with the best. And this way we know that, back to, looking at when you see people's mission statements, vision statements, and we always say, if we're building, the most professional realtors in the nations, then we also need to have the best instructors in the nation. So if you bring your A game, you're going to work for the best, and you're going to teach the best. And so keeping to those basics will help you do that.
Wow, what a great description. So our challenge to the instructors is double down on your respect and your due diligence and increasing your skills. Don't be so distracted by these upcoming new strategies and answers that you're not doing the thing that makes you strong. Have a strong foundation, a strong presentation, do your due diligence and everything. Now, the other thing, though, that I want to say about y'all, Danielle, is that what you're doing and the investment that you make every day in your instructor development is good for all of the other associations who share instructors. And I want to not only challenge the instructors, I want to challenge the education professionals in this discussion as well, that contribute to the national whole, right? We have interesting challenges right now. Step up and take more leadership. We'd like to see more leadership development at the regional level, and we'd like to see more programs like what Austin Board is doing that helps to provide teaching quality across the nation for the market. And so I'd like to encourage everybody on that and to accept that challenge. Jonathan, we probably just got a minute or so left. How would you kind of wrap up that portion of the discussion?
Yeah, I think that whether you're an instructor or an education director, whatever your role is, identifying what is the opportunity in the change. So I think sometimes we maybe get nervous about the change and everything. So, but if we know, okay, well, as the cliche says, the only constant is change. So then looking at where can we find opportunities in the churn, in the change, in the need. And I think Mark, you brought a great example of if there's a need for a conversation that's not happening as an association, as an instructor, if you can help lead that conversation, amazing the connections you can make there. So I would just say find the opportunity in the change.
Excellent. I like it so much. All right. Well, I can tell you're all very excited about getting through to some of these people, and you're invited to do so to the extent that they're available to you. Having said that, Rialto will always be an asset to you. Let us know. If you're not a member of the ACE community on Facebook, go ahead and go over there. It is a private discussion group for association education professionals and a very few rock star instructors like Marky, Josh, and Julia. And that's where we can share a lot of assets and help y'all develop your programs. And that's where Rialto gets to learn the things that you need the most and that you need next, so that we can be helpful and we can achieve this mission of raising our industry standard on education just extremely high. Let's get it way up there. Let's have the best education. We're the largest trade association. Let's have the best education, and let's see this interesting year of change I think Jonathan put it really well. Let's see the opportunity in this excellent year of change. Good focused professionals do extremely well during change. It's going to be a heck of a year for the focused individuals. Now, Marky, you're the star of the program today. Everyone's going crazy with questions for you. You want to give us some closing comments here, and then I think we're going to wrap everybody up.
When I think about my closing comments and going back to the book, because you mentioned the one thing, actually, my favorite quote from the book is be like a postage stamp, stick to one thing until you get there. I am loyal. I am committed. I know what we can do. I survived the foreclosure crisis. I want us to identify our niche, go back to your local association, look at what the numbers are saying in the MLS. There is a solution for compensation. There are multiple solutions for compensation. How are you going to differentiate yourself in this market? My son is a second generation realtor, but he's a sixth generation entrepreneur. Skylar's 27 years old. He gets a signed buyer representation agreement with an offer of compensation on every transaction because he is the Chicago down payment grant king. Who do you serve and how do you serve them? And if you do that well, you will be compensated as we move forward.
Nicely put. I appreciate it. We have a closing question. Marian or Jonathan, would y'all please grab that ACE Facebook link and drop it in the chat? I didn't see it in the chat, and we have some folks asking about it. Y'all get in there. You can continue this discussion. You can ask questions. Thank you, Alex. There's Alex Garland. Thank you for being here, Alex. And any feedback you have on the session, let us know it. We're here to serve you. Let's say we have a mission here we're going to achieve together. Thank you all for being here today. We really appreciate it, and would love to have you in the discussion in ACE or at our next forum, which we'll do in about a month. And we'll bring information from what happened at the Rapid event and some of the big AMS events that Rialto attends as well. We'll bring that information and share it with everybody. Y'all, thank you so much for being here. Let's see, y'all on the panel, you'll see in the chat there, you're getting gratitude, gratitude, gratitude heaped all over you, and it is so well deserved. And I'm really grateful as well. Thank y'all all so much for being leaders in what we do. Marian, thanks for running the thing today from Dubai, all the way from Dubai. Thanks. We have people here coast to coast. Thank you all for being here. Everybody take your energy and have yourself a fantastic day. Put that bounce in your step and help those valuable neighbors, will you? All right. All right. We will see you at the next thing. Thank you so much. Thank